Hi everyone, Sarah Pratt. I think this is my third video blog. I wanted today to talk a little bit about relationships. I don't assume to be an expert. I'm just coming from my vantage point and what I've gone through. Everyone knows I'm very vulnerable with my past and my mess because I think that it's strengthened me and made me the woman I am today, and I kind of like the girl I am, so I don't mind sharing my dirt if it's going to help somebody else. So let's go back about 5 years, getting divorced, and numerous other relationships that had failed for numerous reasons, and I got to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and stepped back a little bit and realized that I was the common thread. And so what did I need to do? I needed to stop dating for a while and figure things out for myself, and why I was picking the same type of men and making the same kind of mistakes in relationships. And I'm currently single, so you know, you can take this with a grain of salt if you want, but just remember Jesus was also single, and he made lots and lots of teachings on what a good marriage covenant entails too. I'm not likening myself to Jesus at all, so don't go there with me. But I'm just saying that other people can hopefully glean from some of my mistakes, so you won't, you know, make the same mistakes that I did. Number one, what I think is really important that a lot of people don't always practice is making sure that you're completely healed. And I always say putting up a do not disturb sign, you know, right up on your forehead. So you take yourself out of the dating game and you don't, number one, you know, you save yourself heartache, because if you're getting out of a relationship and you're going directly into another one, you haven't had time to heal yourself. So wound after wound after wound is going to be built up and just, you know, keep that open, festering wound, and you haven't had time to heal. And secondly, hurting people hurt people. So when you get out there in the dating game and you're right out of a relationship and you haven't had time to sit your butt down, you have a high probability of hurting the next person, or maybe the next few people, the next string of people that you are getting into a relationship with. And I'm always one. I'm very, very empathic myself, but I don't want to hurt other people. You know, I don't want someone else to have pain, especially emotional pain, inflicted upon them because of something I did to them. I just don't think that is morally right. Of course, that's my opinion. So that's a big one for me. Something that came up to me was a reoccurring theme with me just recently going to Mexico. I think most of you are aware that I went by myself. I do most of my trips by myself. Sometimes I travel to destinations where I know friends live. Other times I just, you know, go to other spots where I can scuba dive, because that's my passion, you know, one of my most important hobbies aside from motorcycles and, you know, shoot my guns, that I truly enjoy. And if I'm not working, you know, because I work hard, play hard, you know, I want to be able to do something I truly enjoy. And I think a lot of people, you know, would have a lot more satisfaction and happiness in their life if they weren't waiting around for a relationship to do the things that they truly enjoy. I can't imagine. I mean, I've been single for 5 years. I honestly have been in a relationship, committed relationship twice since I was married, and one other person that I casually dated, and he was actually the only person I cared about out of all 3 people, you know, but, you know, needless to say, had I waited around, I would still be waiting and not living my life. Who wants to do that? I think society puts a lot of status on being in a relationship, and people get fearful that if they are seen somewhere or they don't have a significant other on their arm, that they're gonna, you know, be deemed unworthy or unlovable. And I assure you, I'm very lovable. I'm very relationship worthy, and I'm very single, and that's okay. This is my season to be single. I'm getting a lot accomplished. I'm pursuing a lot of things, regarding my purpose. When that person does come into my life, I, believe that, there's going to be even bigger and better things, but I'm completely whole and complete, by myself. I'm happy in who I am, so I don't feel like another person is going to complete me, which leads me into something that I really wanted to say, because I think so many people, as I was saying, I think so many people struggle with loneliness, and it's just like being in a desert. You're willing to drink anything that comes your way when you come across that path if you're dehydrated and your kidneys are about to fail because you haven't had water in so long, and your body needs that water for nourishment and to survive. And it's the same thing with a relationship. Loneliness is just part of life. Unfortunately, it's something that I struggled with. It was actually one of the biggest things that I had to conquer. I can remember days that I would lay in bed and cry because I was so lonely. I didn't feel like anybody wanted me. I felt like I was very unworthy to have anyone love me or want to be in a relationship with me. And it even, went over into my friendships, my platonic female and male friendships that I had that weren't even a romantic, relationship or desire that I had. And it's something that I had to be healed from, because loneliness will make you do things that you never thought you would do. It will make you pick people that will break your heart. It will make you choose people that you never would have even given a second glance at. It actually will draw people to you, because, people know when you're vulnerable, people know when you're hungry for love, and people will take advantage of that. There's a lot of sharks out there that will go and scavenge anything, that's been left, wounded in the deep, ocean. And unfortunately, when you're feeling very lonely and you're allowing that to overwhelm your entire life and your entire existence, people can feel that. They feel your energy. It's, people walking through your energy fields, and they're going to know you're lonely. And like I said, lonely people do very odd and make unhealthy choices that they never would have made had they not been busy fulfilling their purpose and doing what they were supposed to do and loving on themselves. There's nobody in this world that can tell me that I'm not lovable now, because of everything I've gone through and all the times that I spent alone. I just got busy living my life and loving on me, and I have so many friends that love me and, know how to put me in my place when I get crazy, which I do frequently. You all know that. But I'm so thankful for my life now. I'm thankful for the lonely nights I had and being able to suffer through that. It was a lot of suffering in order to get me, to cross over to the other side, where I realized that it wasn't my end. It wasn't unto death, and it was okay to do things by myself. And I'm just wanting to encourage some people here that if you are lonely or you're allowing society to dictate that you're not a whole person because you're not married, or you don't have a bunch of, kids, popping out of your uterus, that you're not worthy, that's a lie. You figure out what makes you happy and pursue that. And it's okay. Be you. Pursue you. And make sure that you're fulfilling your God-designed purpose on this earth. There's nothing else that's going to make you feel more whole than doing what God created you to do. I hope this helps some people. I love you, and continue to be you, and keep doing what you're doing. Love you guys. Bye.